mean, Boone County is sort of like a vortex into the Twilight Zone, in a way. It's sort of a cultural crossroads where you've got this very distinguished and ancient Appalachian culture, and then likewise, you have the coal industry right there. You have, these. It's this sort of whirlwind. A lot of towns like that, but Boone County is so remote and so poor. Jesco Fest was a surreal experience. It's neat when you see somebody in a region like that has celebrity. I mean, it's like Jesco goes around. If he were to tour throughout the U.S., he'd have cult celebrity pretty much wherever he went. In Boone County, he's as famous as, amongst some as, if Tom Cruise was walking through there. I watched, it was hilarious to me to watch. There's a couple of teenage girls that wanted Jesco to sign their T-shirts, and they were just, red as tomatoes in the face, and, couldn't believe they were meeting him. The one girl was trembling, and to me, that's priceless to get to see that, man, to see Jesco just eating it up, as though he's, Johnny Depp, like the Johnny Depp of Boone County or something, That was neat to see. That and just the music and people networking and bands that would have probably never met each other crossing paths and getting along and checking out one another's music. And Jesco Fest was definitely a neat thing, especially because it only happened the one time. I think a lot of I guess I'm a perfect example, man. I got country roots, and yet by the time I was 12 years old, I was going to punk and hardcore shows and, didn't want much to do at all with my acoustic and, country roots. And there are plenty of people in my generation and the subsequent generations that have that don't have country roots, that came up in rock and roll or punk or metal or hardcore or whatever. And I think one of the reasons why the more traditional and more cultured types of roots music are so appealing to those kids is because it's real. And that's the one thing that everybody respects. If you're really into something, it's like, I know a lot of punk rock kids are like, yeah, man, same three chords, and, it's like turning a kid that likes Bad Religion on to Bill Monroe, which, I remember doing when I was younger. It was like, sitting there telling them, like, listen to these tempos, man. Like, you don't hear a similarity here? Same three chords, listen, and when I think of Hasil Adkins, I think about purity. I really the first thing that I got when I heard him was that this guy isn't trying to be any more or less than him. And he had this very eccentric view obviously on music, on how to present himself, and he was very true to himself. And that was the first thing that stuck out to me, was this guy isn't dumbing down or drumming up anything. He's not going out of his way to put emphasis on anything. He's just up there being him. And he's just as enthralled that people cared as the people who got it and cared. There was a very co-nurturing relationship that I saw between him and his crowds, and the love and loyalty, and I think that he sort of, in a weird way, epitomized what I think, what was left of, Southern or country rebelliousness in rock and roll in that era. Everyone else was adhering to the standards. Everyone else was trying to be Elvis, or Little Richard or Chuck Berry or Jerry Lee or something. And, here's this guy who, for all intents and purposes, was right around the corner, right behind the originals, coming out, at that same era. And he wasn't conforming to a fucking thing. And I think that Hasil, in a way, sort of represented, that untouched hillbilly culture that had been forgotten about and left alone and caricaturized and stereotyped, and has subsequently become the butt of every joke in modern American culture. But he sort of stood up fearlessly and was like, fuck y'all motherfuckers, this is who and what I am, and I'm not going to apologize for it, and if you like it, hang out and enjoy, and if not, happy trails. So West Virginia's got my seal of approval.